Part 1 to this video came out about 3 months ago, which is incredibly slack on my part. I would like to deeply apologize to anyone who watched that first part in these past 3 months and has been waiting for this video. I'm sorry that I didn't get it out on time. If you watch my update video, you'll know that, uni and everything got in the way, and it sort of got in the way in the middle of working on these 2 parts. But the second part is here. It is finished. If you haven't seen the first part, I would highly recommend you go and watch that. It's basically a completely revamped story of the film, and I think you'll find it very hard to follow along without that first part. I mean, look, it's a free world. If you wanna watch part 2 without any context, you have every right to. I would recommend you go and watch part 1. Thank you for those who've been waiting around. Sorry it's taking so long, but thank you that you're still here, and I hope you enjoy. She whispers to herself, "I failed you, Luke." She knows who Luke once was. She knows that Luke wasn't always against the Force, and she's apologizing to that Luke. And at that point, Luke's Force ghost appears. He states that she never failed him. That simply failure is a part of the training of a Jedi. Rey says she's no Jedi. She wasn't trained by a Jedi, and she can't live up to what the Jedi once were. But Luke says the opposite. Rey is a Jedi because she inspires hope if she allows herself to. It's not all about power, which Rey does have, but it's about a bit more. It's about discipline. It's about how you control your emotions. And this is where we can really take a deep dive into what it is to be a Jedi, as Luke explains to Rey that it's not all about swinging a lightsaber. It's not all about if she can defeat the Sith or not. It's about if she's pure at heart, which Luke believes she is. At this point, Rey doesn't really know, but she takes one thing to heart. She can inspire hope. The war may not be lost, because when faced by failure, you have to overcome it. And I want to quickly step back and talk about the sequel trilogy. We started by introducing the characters in The Force Awakens. The Last Jedi showed us how they fail, and now this new film, The Rise of the Force, is going to show how to overcome that failure, making one cohesive theme: the rise and fall of failure and how people can overcome it. Rey goes back to her quarters and she holds the kyber crystal that she retrieved from her saber. She goes into some drawers and she finds the remains of Luke Skywalker's old lightsaber, and she reconstructs it, she repairs it, almost like she did in The Rise of Skywalker. And now she also puts on some new clothing that still looks like the clothing she has worn in the previous films, but it looks a bit more Jedi-like. It looks a bit more official, I guess, more like robes. Rey goes out to see everyone in the Resistance, all not hopeful whatsoever. They're all ready to basically go home and accept what the galaxy now is when they all see her. And eyebrows are raised, but hopeful eyebrows. They see Rey and they realize that she's still in this fight, and that gives them all hope. The fact that the utter sight of her brought so much hope to those who she was working with makes her sure that it's time to make something that they can send out to the galaxy, a transmission that shows the Jedi are not dead, and that Rey is able to pick up Luke Skywalker's lightsaber and carry on his legacy, and that people just need to fight with them. Poe looks around and realizes that basically this is the time where they're in the end game, I guess, like Marvel, but they're in the end game. There's no other options. There's one more mission. And if they fail, well, they all die. But if they succeed, then that's it. They don't really have many other options except to give up. So he proposes an idea, almost a suicide mission. And he says that not everyone has to come, but they're going to try and rally the forces on Coruscant. They're going to try and take out that huge blockade, and they're going to try and take control again. They're trying to take down the First Order with Rey and Poe leading them. A lot of them say if Rey's in, they're in, and Rey is certainly in. And a lot of them decide they're gonna go. One last mission to try and call on anyone who's gonna help them. Again, similar to the Rise of Skywalker, but better. They go to the ship, and Rey's told that she's got one chance to make the best transmission she can, the best call to get anyone that's willing to fight to come to Coruscant. If this is a bad message, then they're just gonna leave hyperspace, see the ships, and get blown up immediately. This transmission is gonna make the difference on if the battle's won, lost, if it takes a minute, if it takes an hour. This transmission is probably the most important transmission that Rey will ever make in her life. But she speaks like a true Jedi. She reignites hope in the galaxy, and she takes up Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, reignites it, and tells the people of the galaxy the Jedi are not dead. They all take off. The Star Destroyer that was once the transmission center of the First Order is now being used as a capital ship for the Resistance. All of the ships are loaded in, and they go to hyperspace to Coruscant. When they exit, they see the ships and they get the same message. They ask, "What, you're stolen by the Resistance? You better have a good reason why you're here, because that's what your code says." They prepare for the worst, and then silence. The ship is asked again, "Do you have a transmitter code? Are you the same ship that was stolen?" Silence. But then, on their right, one ship comes out of hyperspace. It seems to be some sort of military ship. And then another, and another, all with John Williams' score coming in and building. Suddenly, more and more ships are coming out of nowhere, all facing down the First Order, with the capital ship right in the middle. More and more ships are coming, just as many as we saw in the Rise of Skywalker, one at a time, and it's overwhelming. Poe didn't even expect this many ships, because at this point, just by amount of ships, they're basically equaling the First Order. Poe is in utter shock, but he goes to respond, "No, we don't have a clearance code." The ships start to accelerate, and they all go to fight down these First Order. Now, something I mentioned way at the start of the video is that Hux is commanding his own Star Destroyer, and we see a lot of Hux in the battle. We see him firing upon rebels, but he almost seems to be a bit disgruntled. I don't think that he likes that he is fighting for someone who's constantly trying to downplay him and eventually might kill him. Rey senses Kylo on the big ship, which has now left Coruscant and is now towering over the battle with a lot of power. And so, without telling anyone, Rey gets into a ship and she goes to infiltrate that one ship to try and destroy it, and hopefully also destroy Kylo Ren. However, we're still riding off the coattails of that massive reveal of all of those ships. So John Williams' score is still going, and all of these ships are just going to town. This is the biggest space battle we've ever seen. We see heaps of ships that seem unlikely to all go and attack one Star Destroyer and manage to take it down. We're going to see cameos of very specific ships. We're going to see the Ghost, and we're going to see people like Hera piloting it. Is it fan service? Yes, but it's fun fan service. Seeing someone piloting a ship isn't going to ruin it for someone who doesn't know about that character. But for people who do know about those characters, imagine the excitement. Imagine seeing Hera, or if you like the Star Wars Resistance show, maybe seeing Kaz. It'd be cool just to have these tiny little moments of fan service in such a big battle. We're also going to see something we haven't seen a lot of in live action, or I guess except the prequels, but we're going to see Trooper on Jedi attacks. We're going to see Rey fighting stormtroopers, blasting through them, almost like the Clone Wars generals did in the Clone Wars against droids. So we're going to see Rey fighting through a lot of stormtroopers before she makes it to the main generator room, and that is where she'll meet Kylo Ren. By the way, Kylo Ren once again has his mask on. Kylo and Rey face off against each other, and they once again go to fight. Rey is doing a little better than last time, and as the battle goes on, they actually seem quite evenly matched. However, later on in the battle, she is going to be weakened once again. But we'll cut back to the space battle, and again, huge battle. Massive ships going down, and we're going to cut to General Hux. He orders his men to stop firing on the enemy. He has a new plan. He wants everyone to abandon ship. Everyone's confused because the ship's not that badly damaged, but he tells them to go and they listen. That's what happens in war. You listen to your generals. Hux then goes to take control of his ship. He's finally going to get the revenge on Kylo Ren he always wanted. Cut back to Rey and Kylo. They're still fighting in the generator rooms, and Rey is really trying to reach out to Ben. I think she secretly still believes that she can save him, but Ben's way too far gone. Kylo doesn't necessarily want to kill Rey. He still feels he can bring her to the dark side, but he is definitely not holding back from injuring her. As they continue to fight, he's getting nicks in, and it's burning the surface of Rey's skin. Rey knows that she still can't beat him. As they fight, Kylo disarms Rey, and her lightsaber goes flying. He then says that she's got one more chance to join him. She says never, she is a Jedi. And Kylo Ren says, very well. He goes to strike her down, but as he does, his blade, just before hitting his neck, gets stopped by what is Force Ghost Luke. Luke holds his saber and pushes him back before throwing him back with the Force. Kylo is very angered by seeing Luke once more. And then there are more Force Ghosts that start to appear. We see Obi-Wan, we see Yoda, and we see Anakin, as these are the Force Ghosts that exist in canon. And they all walk towards Kylo Ren quite menacingly, and Kylo is once again showing fear. Rey pulls her lightsaber towards her because now she's got the backup of 4 Force Ghosts. The Force Ghosts help her in battling Kylo, and Kylo isn't necessarily losing, but he is struggling a bit now. Kylo's able to use Force Lightning and other Force powers on the Force Ghosts, but they're mostly just evading. The fight is still focused on Rey and Kylo Ren, with the Force Ghosts supporting Rey. However, for a second, Rey gets the upper hand and slashes off Kylo Ren's mask, leaving him with another scar. However, as Darkseid users often do, this makes him very angry and makes him more powerful as he starts to wildly swing towards Rey. And at this moment we cut back to Hux, and Hux has taken over his ship controls and starts to blast it towards Kylo Ren's main ship. And as it heads towards it, it makes impact. The ship shatters on one side. It's not enough to destroy the ship, but it's quite a lot of damage. A Star Destroyer has just hit it. Rey and Kylo Ren fall backwards, and the ghosts tell Rey to go, and the ghosts now all fight Kylo Ren on their own. Rey runs towards the generators and uses her lightsaber to destroy them, making a huge explosion and throwing her back along with Kylo Ren. They're now in the fiery inferno of this generator room. The ship is on the brink of collapse. There doesn't seem like there's any survival for either of them, but they continue to fight. Rey is telling Ben to search his feelings. He needs to come back to the light. Kylo knows he's basically too far gone, but the ghosts know what Kylo did earlier. They tell him to stop listening to this holocron. It's not him. Kylo tells them to quiet, and so the ghosts go back to helping Rey in the fight. And due only to the ghosts' help, Rey manages to get the upper hand and disarm Kylo. Anakin says that they need to get the holocron's energy out of Kylo, but they need somewhere for it to go. Rey says, "What can you put it into?" And the ghosts remark, "Only a living thing." Rey knows that the only way they're getting it out of Kylo is if they put it into Rey, and she knows that if she destroys it while it's trying to transfer, it's probably going to kill her. But she's willing to do it to save Ben. And so Rey and the ghosts start to pull it out of Kylo. Now, this isn't completely why he's evil, I just want to say. The power that it brings and the mental manipulation that it brings isn't the only reason that Kylo Ren's evil. He's evil on his own, as he was for the past 2 films. But as they pull it out and Rey destroys it, basically killing herself for Kylo, it makes him realize that finally he's truly selflessly loved by someone. Kylo immediately mourns Rey. He knows what he's done for her, and he realizes that the dark path led only to destruction of someone who loved him. He asks the ghosts what he can do, and they sadly say nothing. There's nothing you can do to reverse this. And so Kylo carries her body out of the ship and manages to escape right as it explodes. The rebels manage to win the fight. All of the ships are destroyed, and they are celebrating. They've done it. Just a bunch of random people joining with a small force of rebels, and they have destroyed the First Order, at least on Coruscant. The fight still has more to go, but they're confident they can do it because now people will rise against this empire. They see Kylo's ship and they capture it in the tractor beam. Kylo surrenders himself, as well as surrendering the body of Rey. Everyone's shocked. He doesn't know what to do. They lock him up, and he has time to reflect. The reason Kylo Ren has turned back to the light is because of this realization. He's finally found his place, but that place has been destroyed. But he's realized the error of his ways. He's realized how the dark side destroys those around him. But he knows he has to face consequences for his actions. Rey's death alone isn't enough to pay for the hundreds that he's killed himself and the millions that he's caused the death of. This is where we fade to black, and we come back seeing a bearded Kylo. A bit of grey in his hair. It's clear a lot of time has passed. Kylo is looking over what seems to be a Jedi temple. He's committed himself back to the light path and he's training others, but he's haunted. He's haunted by what he caused. He's haunted by what he has done, but he's ready to move on. He will become the hope for the galaxy if he must. He was able to make the rest of the First Order stand down, which means that there has been peace, but at what cost? This is a very dark ending to this movie, and to this trilogy, but it's not necessarily the end of the story. There's room for more, because while it's dark, there is no more darkness. There is no more threat. The only threat now is Kylo Ren's self and him committing himself more to the light. So, on some notes, it's a happy ending. The galaxy is seeing peace, but for our characters, they've faced great tragedy, because that's what war is. It's happy for the rest of the galaxy, but not for the people heavily involved in the war. And I think that, again, highlights what it's like in real life. When wars happen and wars are won, it's great for the countries of people who have been protected or have won a war, but for the soldiers, for the people that were there, it changes them. And I think that's the tone that this film needs to take. It's showing the more human side to what Star Wars is, because it is still war. These people are haunted by what happened, and yes, it saved the galaxy, but it was a great sacrifice. And that's the real theme of the end of this movie. Our characters have sacrificed everything for the galaxy, and they've made the galaxy a better place because of it, and now Kylo Ren is training those who will maintain the peace in the galaxy at last. And that is how we end this film. Now, I understand there's still a bunch in the air, and the simple reason is because I don't really have the time to make this whole movie, even though this is a 40-minute video, which is kind of insane. But basically, the idea here is that I was trying to focus on Rey and Kylo, and also I guess the Resistance, but not particularly, Poe and Finn, and I don't know. That was just my story. I feel like that could have been an interesting story, I mean, would it have been good? Would it have translated well to screen? I guess we'll never know. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed it for what it was. I hope you enjoyed, the story, the journey. This is a hugely long video, which I didn't really mean to do. I might split it into 2 parts. So if you want to see that, or I guess if you're hearing this, you would have already seen that. So if you're enjoying, or if you enjoyed this thing, leave some comments, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.